for higher GC News, Mema Obibia Akwaba, Ahadia latest and hot news, Mkwa, Enamede, Bremo. Anuti Sawunyan subscribe to channel idea, Bomodian say, Obe subscribe. Dobeyan say, Obe click a year the subscribe button. Na wabele notification. We answer video full be upload no. When the first person I want sa ebeka a year sa video. Afi we na wa like video no, give us a thumbs up na fi share ma wo fufro so da when you be here na wo hu ensemo ekoso ewo Ghana memo no afi yembura ye ensemo abeto yep no so eye orafo no operation recover all loot eye Martin Kwebu a no so ka ho wode ensem bi atoya na mepese ye bekoti eye Martin Kwebu ne ensem a wode tuja fa eye ora niema a wone yenkoti eye Martin Kwebu ne ensem a wode atuja fa orafo no yenti ne ensem.
We need to get to the bottom of that matter. That money is a lot more than what we borrowed from the IMF. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Council. Thank you very much. But will the preparatory team's work, will any loot be recovered? Does it look like you can recover any loot, so-called?
Oh yes. That one is there are low-hanging fruits that you see that even at this preparatory stage, as you mentioned, we don't have the mandate to do vigorous investigations and prosecution, right? We are just gathering evidence. And even at this gathering stage, you see that based on some of the petitions that we saw, straight away we reported to the police and national security, and they were able to take action. So you see that yesterday at Honorable Ablakwe's vetting, we were able to show that we saved 20 bungalows that were about to go down in cantonments. 20 bungalows, and if you look at the lands, those are millions of dollars, not Ghana cedis. Yeah, because they were about to demolish and do some transactions that are not on. Okay, so we've halted, through the actions of national security and the police, those have been halted. So those are some of the fruits of the preparatory team. You remember the NDA matter too? Yes, the NDA to the wall, the partitioner of that land, etc. sold to private developer. You see that we went and then reported to national security, and they too, using police, they were able to do the needful, and so those were halted. There are other things. You remember the agric mechanization land? Yes, those empty plots there, who is going to build on them? No, they are not going to be built. So those ones who, that's land that's being recovered for the state. So that you will see a lot more. In fact, you will see a lot more, just even for the preparatory team. Because once we are citizens, we are allowed to report. If we see anything wrong, we are allowed to report. And so the police and national security can take action in the interim. Yes. I keep telling you that, not just you, I keep making the point that I think that the setting up of the constitution by, the setting up of the committee by JM is a master stroke. Yeah, that much, I believe so. Because you see that if we hadn't started this early, what would have happened is that by the time the government settles, a lot of bad stuff would have gone through. So with the early setting up of the committee, you see that it served as a check, at least to some extent. It cannot be 100% perfect, but it's a reasonable check. So this committee is actually a master stroke.
I see. In fact, I would spend a little time on this oral preparatory team as we go on the show, and because from what we got earlier, what this essentially means is that your work has come to an end with the appointment of the Attorney General. And so the indication that Samalokuja Ablakwa gave yesterday was that you were putting your report together to submit to the president, correct?
Yes.
In the coming days.
Well, practically now, it doesn't look like it's in the coming days, maybe in the coming weeks. Yesterday, we were billed to meet the Attorney General, Dr. Ayene. But because of the vetting, Honorable Ablakwa was scheduled to be vetted on Thursday.
Yes.
Then yesterday, Friday, would have met the Attorney General. But because the vetting couldn't come on Thursday, and it had to be done yesterday, then the meeting got cancelled. So we'll have to meet the Attorney General first before we meet the President. So maybe we should say in the coming weeks.
In the coming weeks?
Yes.
Okay. But then you maintain that you received 1,000 or near 1,000 petitions.
Yeah, let's correct this. Some of them are information.
Not
petition. So what some of them are is that somebody will send an email that, hey, watch this institution, X, Y, Z. There's something ongoing. Some huge payments are being made, or that. So that is not necessarily a petition. The petitions generally are the ones that the person has details and can show some specifics of wrongdoing. But we are not underestimating the importance of the leads. Those are important because when you get some of those, then you can inform the appropriate institutions to, also look into those. So we are very, 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 very grateful for the leads, the tapes, the petitions, etc. Other management of the Parliament House, they should look at it again. Make it happen in a place where everybody who wants to attend can attend. If we were to make it in a place where a place that can seat 1,000 people, hopefully it shouldn't. We shouldn't have such overcrowdedness and etc.
Well, this is what we have right now, and this chaos that we saw. In fact, the chaos started way before it got into the conference room itself, because we also observed that the door to the entrance of the building that has this conference room where the vetting is taking place, that glass door was also broken. We will put that on the screen in a bit. But when you got there, because Owusu Blackwa was scheduled to be vetted on Thursday night. So it was that night that the incident happened. And then we saw that chaos on the screen shortly. What exactly was running through your mind when you saw that level of chaos? And this is the door, the glass door that was destroyed. And this is the entrance, way before the chaos happened. So the point you make about the number of people as well, yes, we can point to this and say it's something that could be considered, because the people were forcing themselves in.
And yesterday it was worse. I'll tell you a certain story. Let me put in a short one and then go to what I saw there, the reactions. Look, yesterday too, as I said, because they said only 10, each nominee should come with only 10 guests, it was so bad that a certain MP coming, I don't want to mention names, I want us to get the lessons rather than just mentioning names. A certain MP wanted to come out, but because people were struggling to enter, it became so frustrating for the MP that the MP referred to somebody's spouse as a fool. Now look at this fool. Yeah, because the MP got, so I'm not even mentioning the gender. I want us to concentrate on the lessons, what we should do. Yeah, that MP was so frustrated, like the MP wants to come out. People are pushing him. Then the MP said, excuse me, and some other words to that effect. But because there was so much force from those who want to enter, she wasn't getting her way. Then all of a sudden, the MP said, look at that fool. Yeah, and that was somebody's spouse, somebody big up there. So all of us, you can just imagine. So you see the frustration that the MP experienced at the door, one of those doors. The next thing was that, look at this fool. Oh yeah, it was so terrible. So now
let's move to what we are saying now with the minority whip.
Yes, he said they had agreed to vet 4. There were other persons who also, I will remember the names, who also came out and said 4, right? And earlier in the day, I heard on City FM, the names of 6 were rather mentioned to be vetted, and even there were complaints that, can you finish 6 in one day, considering how the vetting of Sam George went over 5 hours, right? So far, it appears there's some credibility to that story that a certain number was agreed upon, that 4. But let's note this carefully. Before they agreed on the 4, or even if you use 6 for Thursday, remember that earlier on, they had sent letters to some of the nominees. So there was a timetable prior to the happenings of the Thursday. And the first incident that disrupted the timetable was the fact that on Wednesday, they couldn't sit because they had to deal with Oliver Bakavoma's case.
Yes.
So it disrupted the timetable. So you see that yesterday, Agyarko had in his hands a letter that had been written earlier to him that he was scheduled for Thursday at 1 p.m. So you could see that it was a timetable that had been disrupted, and they failed to communicate to these nominees that, oh, based on the fact that we couldn't sit on Wednesday, your appearance on Thursday would be affected. That is where the problem came from. So you see that eventually yesterday, Afenyo Markins had to apologize to, apart from the chairman of the committee apologizing to the nominees and their families and all of us. Afenyo Markins eventually did, because earlier in the day he had addressed a press conference where he made statements that were unsavory, etc. So he apologized. So that's what really happened. So it means that if we are analyzing the fact that there had been a timetable which obviously was disrupted, and so that Thursday they had agreed to do 4, or even if you take it 6 nominees, it means that that agreement supersedes their earlier timetable. The only problem is that they failed to communicate to Honorable Agyarko and co. But the point is that those doing the vetting had agreed, the MPs, the committee had agreed that whether you go by the 4 or you go by the 6, that was the number that was agreed upon. So if you try to go beyond 4 or 6, there will be a problem. So to that extent, unless there are any other facts that I'm not aware, you can see that this protest, putting the chairs on the table per se for now without any further distraction is something that I think, well, we can accommodate within our democracy. Because sometimes, they tell you that actions speak louder than words. So if we keep protesting that, look, we are going away, and maybe the chairman and others will not budge because they have numbers. If you lifted your chair and put it on the table, that per se hasn't gone too far. I think we can accommodate that. Where it goes too far is when it got too physical, and you find Jerry, a lawyer, lifting the table. Then you find the other MPs.
That's
also,
what on the screen there.
Yes, but earlier on, Jerry, who is a lawyer, had lifted the table by himself. I hope you have
that. Let's go back a bit. Yes.
Yes, there is that video too before these other ones. Then there was also the MP who was in the cream suit. Yeah, he also did a lot of pushing. The MP in the cream suit.
So the Jerry Ahmed is what the person.
You see. Even later on, you see another one. He alone, he lifted it up. It was more than I could take. Then,
all these,
so this
all
one,
the people holding the table are MPs.
Yes. So you see, this one is the latter one. You find at a point he alone lifting the table. So it's like matters had calmed down. Then you find he alone lifting. So presumably, if you see him pushing back, that means that these MPs you see in your shot, then they must be in the minority because he's pushing against them. Do you see that? Do you see? If we went back to the extent that Jerry was pushing against these MPs and the policeman, then it means that these MPs must be the majority. That's the NDC MPs, because there's no reason why he'll be pushing against them, right?
Right.
So he did. Yes.
Right.
This one. Yes. You say.
Yes,
so what we're saying is that at least the beginning, the putting of the chairs on the table, as I've said. For now, until maybe I'm shown superior facts and arguments, I will not quibble that much with that. But where it got to pushing the table, breaking it, and then in actual fact, hurting them, that's where it went overboard.
Brother, I don't know how we justify it. It's not. I don't agree with my brother Martin.
Why is that?
Martin is my guy anymore, but this one is.
No, I said to be specific. I said at the time where they lifted the chairs, just that one.
I don't agree with you.
So let's get the specific.
Putting the chairs on the table.
I don't agree with putting the chairs.
That's the one. This one is allowed.
That's the one I said.
You would allow this?
Yes. Why? Because, as I said, you see, sometimes communication. Maybe the person is not hearing well, so he said, look, I'll do a little bit just for you to see that this is my protest.
No, but Council, there are so many other ways.
Oh, don't forget, I'm the same person that when Oliver Baka from our went and did the stance at the 37, the galamsey fight. Say, now let's draw consistency. Yeah. When Oliver and Co went to 37, the demonstration, did you say you supported their actions or not?
No, I didn't support the blocking the road because of where it was. There will be safety. People are going to the hospital. We shouldn't block their access.
There have been notice of that demonstration for months. No, so we're saying that there's not just one entrance to 37. There are several. If the police had planned well,
I support the galamsey fight. I was very happy to have citizens like Vomawo, yourselves, get on the streets. We should see more activism in the country. It captures or draws the attention of politicians properly. But, this is national TV. We are not a people without a culture. And our children are watching. Is this what you want them to see? I understand what, Martin, you are trying to say, that it's not as bad. That's what Martin is saying. It's not as bad. We could have lived with it. But I don't think we should live with anything.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have found it. It is a report of this House, your report, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, a report of the ad hoc committee to investigate the procurement contract between the government of the Republic of Ghana and His Highness Sheikh Ahmed Dalmouk Al Maktoum and SL Global for the supply of Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccines. Mr. Chairman, this document, submitted to Mr. Speaker, adopted by this House, August 2021, signed by the Honorable Alexander K. Afenyo Markins, Chairman of the Ad hoc Committee. This was their conclusion, paragraph 12.4. Quote, with your permission, Mr. Chairman. The committee urges the Minister for Finance to take steps to recover the money due to the Republic in respect of the amount of $2,850,000 United States dollars, so $2.85 million, equivalent at the time to 16,331,640 Ghana cedis, being the cost of the Sputnik V vaccines that were procured wrongly. Adopted by this House. So, Afenyo Markins, the Honorable Afenyo Markins, signed this report.
I was part of that committee.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Agyarko. Yes, I'd even forgotten that. So, even as a House, we have been doing oral with the support of Honorable Afenyo Markins, signing documents, also concerned about monies that have been looted that we cannot find. So why will you fight President Mahama when you have some of these reports that you yourselves have signed, urging retrieval from a finance minister?
Mr. Nominee, let me take you onto social media because you are a key player in that particular area. Social media has become a source of misinformation and disinformation, undermining the ability of leaders in West Africa to mobilize public support for its decisions and development agenda. You are one of the leading politicians who uses social media a lot to get your message and interest across. Looking at the generality of the situation and the concerns across the political divide, what are some of the initiatives that you will promote to overcome this dangerous development?
Well, thank you very much. I take the view that social media is a double-edged sword. It can be a force for good, and then if it's misused, it can be weaponized and, used as a destructive element. I think that African leaders should become conscious of the new age, new media, and we should encourage more transparency. My view is that if African leaders and African governments adopt an open governance architecture, if they are more transparent, they are more accountable, then the people will know. Knowledge is power. It will not be easy for the people to be misled. Unfortunately, in Africa, you struggle to get information. If you are not an interceptor general, then God help you, you know. So, Mr. Chairman, I really will say that let's have more open governance. The RTI has been passed in Ghana, but in terms of its success in implementation, there is much to be desired. And then our regulatory bodies should clamp down on those who are misusing social media for disinformation, misinformation. They create fake accounts. And unfortunately, even some governments on the continent are responsible. They have these fake news factories. They pay people to just, you know, put out fake news. Will you believe that on my way to this vetting, few days in the run-up to this vetting, there was fake news all over that I have started deleting my Facebook messages, my Facebook exposés. All over, people were sharing it. And some people believed it, that I'm indeed deleting my Facebook post. Why will I? I'm not a coward. I'm not one to, I stand by my convictions. I'm a conviction politician. So fake news is a real problem. But I think that as for social media, it's come to stay. Let's encourage more open governance, more transparency, and we should be fine with social media.
Thank you very much. I'll give the floor to Haji Aladi Ayamba, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me take this opportunity to congratulate Honorable Ablakwa. You've worked hard, right from when I was Deputy National Women Organizer, Europa came, you worked hand in hand with Fifi Kwete and all others. You have never rested on your OS. Thanks to the Almighty Allah, we came to Parliament at the same time, and you have always soared high. I like the energy and the way you have always been able to work. And I would say, indeed, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has done exactly what is expected to him, because he has rewarded hard work for not only the party, but Ghana as a whole, and for all of us. Now, my question is, there is an acronym that has now become an international song. When even people say it, others will begin running. Someone wanted to say helter skelter and said skelter skelter. So, and the acronym is ORAL. Operation Recover or Loot. I know you wouldn't belong to any team that will be doing anything adverse. So far, my observations and what I've seen, it has been good. Because I've listened, I have watched. Now, sooner than later, ORAL as a team needs to have a way forward. What is ORAL going to do so that all the things that you have done, the time, and now that you are not even being paid, you are just doing a yeoman's job, it wouldn't go waste. We would actually benefit from it. And then, can you tell us also, apart from the way forward, can you tell us also, this particular activity that you have undertaken, how much have you saved Ghanaians from these corrupt activities that has bedeviled the country and taken so much from Ghanaian taxpayers? Thank you.
Honorable member, proceed to ask the question. But because we don't have any evidence of evaluation of how much ORAL has been able to save, proceed to answer the question minus that. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. And let me commend my big sister for her question and thank her for her kind words. She's been one of our mothers. We all go to her for advice, and she's always generous with her counseling and guidance. Mr. Chairman, as I said in my introduction, one of the jobs that I am so proud of, and I'll remain ever so proud of, is this sacrificial job to chair ORA, Operation Recover or Loot, which is a major plank in President Mahama's anti-corruption drive. The establishment of ORA is such a masterstroke, and President Mahama ought to be commended. I can reveal to you today that since ORA was established, just by the establishment of the team and we receiving information from the general public, we have saved this country 20 bungalows which were going to be demolished. 20. And I can provide the list. Bungalows that were being occupied by staff of Research Department of the Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Gender, the CSIR. Bulldozers had moved in, but because they called the Oral Secretariat, and we then called National Security to take action, they were able to protect these bungalows. I have not added the Du Bois Center, the NDA lands, which were about to be captured. So President Mahama has saved this country a great deal with the establishment of ORA, and all of us must support ORA. Now we are having an international discussion. Many people forget that ORA has international dimensions. I need not remind our colleagues here that President Nana Addo Akufo Addo has been an ORA champion in the international arena. Why do I say that? He has been advocating for reparation, that our colonial masters who looted Africa, they should bring it back, return our monies, our artifacts, return the loot. So I'm so shocked that our friends who started ORA even before President Mahama won the election in the international arena, when they come home, they don't want to hear about ORA. This is quite remarkable. You know, and I would have thought that charity will begin at home. You want the Brits and the French and the Dutch and others to return the loot. But back home, you want looters to go scot-free. Let's not do anything about looting. I find it really contradictory. So let's see some consistency. The other international dimension about oral is that if you check the ECOWAS protocols, the AU Charter, and all the UN charters and all of that, anti-corruption is a major, major plank. According to the World Bank, Africa is losing about $88 billion every year because of corruption. $88 billion, and those are conservative estimates. Imagine what that money, if it stays in the continent, used for the development of the people's welfare, how our continent will look like. So as for oral, all of us must support it. And if you look at what has gone on in this country over the last 8 years, look, I have a tall list of monies that can be retrieved. SkyTrain, we can get our $2.5 million back. Ejapa, we can get our $12 million back. National Cathedral, we can get our $58 million back.
Honorable member, these SML. Are projections.
Yes.
Are these projections?
Projections.
Honorable member.
Projections.
Honorable
no,
member.
but I think that it's important to contextualize so that, you see, when we talk about oral, people discuss oral in abstract terms. This House, Mr. Chairman, and it's unfortunate that the ranking member is not here. Mr. Chairman, if you pardon me.
Honorable member, is there a document that you want to refer to?
Yes, please, and to also table the document.
You need to seek leave to refer to it.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I want to first secure the document and then I will table it with your permission. Pardon me, I have quite a number of documents here.
Please, just conclude your make progress. Honorable member.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
We have a very tall list today.
Yeah. Details of what? Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have found it. It is a report of this House. Your report, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect. A report of the ad hoc committee to investigate the procurement contract between the government of the Republic of Ghana and His Highness Sheikh Ahmed Dalmouk Al Maktoum and SL Global for the supply of Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccines. Mr. Chairman, this document, submitted to Mr. Speaker, adopted by this House, August 2021, signed by the Honorable Alexander K. Afenyo Markins, Chairman of the Ad hoc Committee. This was their conclusion. Paragraph 12.4. Quote, with your permission, Mr. Chairman. The committee urges the Minister for Finance to take steps to recover the money due to the Republic in respect of the amount of $2,850,000 United States dollars, so $2.85 million, equivalent at the time to 16,331,640 Ghana cedis, being the cost of the Sputnik V vaccines that were procured wrongly. Adopted by this House. So, Afenyo Markins, the Honorable Afenyo Markins, signed this report.
I was part of that committee.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Agyarko. Yes, I'd even forgotten that. So, even as a House, we have been doing oral with the support of Honorable Afenyo Markins, signing documents, also concerned about monies that have been looted that we cannot find. So why will you fight President Mahama when you have some of these reports that you yourselves have signed, urging retrieval from a finance minister? So, as for oral, it has come to stay. The second part of a question about the future of oral. Let me place on record that our job at this point is just to collect the information.
Member, just limit yourself to the scope of the question.
Yes, yes. She asked about the future of oral. It's important. And many Ghanaians have been asking since my appointment. Many Ghanaians have been asking. The way forward for oral. The way forward for oral is that all the information that have come from patriotic Ghanaians, we will be handing over our report soon, in the next few days, to His Excellency the President, the appointor. And then he will decide with his Attorney General on the second phase of oral, which is the execution phase, the retrieval phase.
Thank you very much.
So that is the future of oral. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable nominee, I am a lady from a constituency and an MP that has two countries that border us. That is Burkina Faso to the north and Togo to the east. There are a lot of concerns about the unrest, let me use that word, that especially is coming up from the Burkina side. We have a lot of unapproved roads, and because of where we are coming from, you cannot tell who is who immediately, because we look alike. Basically, we speak the same language. We are afraid of spillovers because of the people will say Boko conflict, and I will say the Kusag conflict, because it entails a whole lot. Will you take it on yourself as a minister, if approved, to make sure that you work hand in hand with the two countries. Although Burkina Faso has opted out from ECOWAS, but we are well aware that there is some leverage that we should work hand in hand with them. Will you work with them to ensure that we bring an end to these issues? Because those who are there and causing these problems, which can readily escalate, are also human beings and need to be listened to. Will you do that? Thank you.
I can assure you, Honorable Hajia Ladi, that will be pursued. It is a priority of President Mahama. That's why he's appointed a special envoy to the Sahel in the person of Lieutenant Colonel Beflo Latte. And you are close to the challenge, and I'm glad about how eloquently you speak about it. I mean, those who think we should leave them to be on their own, no. I mean, when the violence escalates, we will be the immediate harboring point for refugees, for even some of these, extremists who will come in with weapons. There are small arms and sophisticated weapons that will, be brought into our jurisdiction. And don't forget, we are already having challenges in Boku. So it presents such a toxic mix. And so if we do not help to quench the fires in these neighboring countries, we are at real risk, and there will be no stability. And what we have going for us is our stability. Without peace and stability, nothing else can be achieved. It is so fundamental. And so you have our fullest assurances that my marching orders from President Mahama is to support the special envoy to make sure that we are able to pursue peace and get our three neighboring countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, back into the ECOWAS fold, and we'll remain committed to that.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Thank you, Chairman. I don't have any further questions. I just wish you all the best, and I do my heart off for you. Thank you, and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I will recognize Alasan Uma.
Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity. Minister nominee, congratulations, my brother and comrade. I haven't listened to you on your answers regarding the oral. I know how I could tell the selflessness and patriotic ideals and your initial left-centered ideology. So I want to find out how, now that you are a foreign minister or as a foreign minister, how do you intend to marry the two? Because on the resume, you are the chairperson or chairman of Oral. And you are also becoming, God's willing, the next foreign minister. How do you intend to marry the two? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. A very brilliant question.
Thank you very much, but let me place on record that you are not yet a foreign minister unless you are giving the nod. Thank you. Proceed to answer the question.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. A very brilliant question. And as I indicated earlier, Oral's mandate will continue even from this first phase of information gathering into the second phase of actual retrievals, recoveries, prosecutions, when the Attorney General decides that there is basis for that. Now, your brilliant question about how I can also continue to support the process. Within the international arena, we have mechanisms of recovering loot which have been shipped to various, havens and destinations. If you take, for example, what happened to the Abacha loot in Nigeria, they needed international collaboration, and the World Bank was very supportive to help Nigeria recover hundreds of millions of dollars of the Abacha loot, particularly from Switzerland and other destinations. So I see my role as a role that will help. I'm not going to say that Oral is behind me. No, even though the next phase, the Attorney General will be leading the effort. But when he calls on me to bring in the international dimension, facilitate how to work with international organizations to retrieve loot in other jurisdictions, certainly I'll be more than happy. Relying on the Nigerian model, how they use their international partners to retrieve the Abacha loot, I think that we can also use that to retrieve loot that is hiding in all manner of places for the development of our people. Our people need that money for roads, for schools, for hospitals, for good water, and we have to help them retrieve their money.
Yo, waiting for waiting and summer about beto. Yep, no so because so we can subscribe to channel area, but more than say or be subscribe. Nafi, well like video to give us a thumbs up. Nafi, share my wofufro so that when you be here, since I had the latest hot nkwa, and I'm the Bremo. Also, bet me otchere wondering afa yeah, and some way who I will comment box in Mubeti Minkabu in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.